How does a founder know when it's time to launch a PR campaign for their startup? And how the heck do they get themselves media prepared? Our guest, she's got all the answers you need to get ready to soar. Stay tuned for the Startup Life Live show. Let's glow, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Startup Life Live show. I'm your host, Ande, Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to you founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, I have a real deep appreciation of what you are crawling through every single day. Those high levels of uncertainty and those incredible moments of ecstatic joy where you say, I am a winner. It's an amazing roller coaster ride, right? And nothing prepares you for this. That's why I'm so grateful that you carved out time to tune in and join me right here and my wonderful guest on the Startup Life Live show, because as you do better, founders, your startup will do better. And this is a great opportunity to grab some gems that will serve you and your startup. Big hello to the live viewers, to you wonderful replay viewers, and my podcast listeners. I know you're going to get some gems from our delicious conversation today because it's all about PR. It's going to be so much fun. If you are tuning in from YouTube, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. And how about you join the Startup Life Live meetup group? This is where you get a deep dive into all the guests that I have in the show. You'll get a wonderful big background and notice about the show. And you'll be able to say, hey, maybe there's someone there on the show that I can ask a question of. This is the beauty of live broadcasting, right? We've got this great guest on the show. You can ask your questions live or post them later. We want to help you. We want to serve you and your startup. So let me share a few Andelicious announcements before I get going here. Of course, I want you all to hop on over to Arlen Academy right here. Everything you need to know about launching a successful business all in one place. For those of you who are in the EV market, electric vehicle industry, this innovation studio is having a phenomenal opportunity for you startups in this lane. So go to innovationstudio.org/programs/scale/driving2043. It's all in the show notes. Everything you need to know. Also, check out in Atlanta, the Femtech Salon. Now we have Kimberly Kim coming up, Rachel Kim coming up, but she has this wonderful Femtech Salon, December 8th, 2022 in Atlanta. You know how important it is to be surrounded by your peers. Go check it out. Links are in the show notes. And look who's putting together this wonderful documentary, Girls Just Want to Have Funds. I mean, seriously, you know how hard it is, female founders, to raise money for your founders, for your startup. So be sure to go check out Girls Just Want to Have Funds campaign. See about contributing to this wonderful documentary film getting made. And for those of you raising funds, you know how I feel about Scroobius. Human first fundraising right here. Founders, create a pitch that will finally get you funding, plus this peer support you need. And if you're ever wondering, do I have that slide in the right order? Is that the right place for that? Scroobius will help you nail it down. And I got to do a little promo here. Coming up on Tuesday, the 29th. It's Giving Tuesday. I'm going to be having a special show here for this wonderful organization called Build. Put it on your calendars. As we say here in Boston, mark your calendars. And we'd love to see you and have you hang out with us. So I'm so excited to bring in our guest because Sabrina, this is such a unique, wonderful human. I am crazy about her, and I know you will be too. I'm just going to put out that she is a seasoned entrepreneur and PR expert and the founder of 2 PR, a unique public relations agency helping businesses get media exposure and quickly build their online brand presence. And you're going to love hearing her startup life origin story and founder journey insights and advice and everything she wants to share regarding PR. Get your questions ready and join me in welcoming to the show the one and only Sabrina Stocker.
Ande, I love your energy. Oh my goodness. Keep bringing it in. I'm
Oh,
bouncing from it like sunshine.
I'm so happy you're here. And we've got some folks tuning in. Hey, Gerald, so happy to see you. He is the president of Floel. It's a femtech business, right? It's developing a medical device to get 1 billion incontinent women dry. Wow. I mean, talk about a one liner. Yay, Jerry. And then we have Mia Voss, and everybody knows. Hey, Mia's saying, yeah, I'm down here in front. Mia, you know what happens when you're in the room. Folks, if you haven't subscribed to Mia's podcast, Shit We Don't Talk About with Mia Voss, get on over to shitwedonttalkaboutpodcast.com and get yourself signed up because Mia has the conversations you want to talk about. Sabrina, where are you hanging out today?
So I'm currently in Mexico. I'll share my view of the outside balcony, and you can see I'm in
Oh,
so it's really beautiful.
it's so beautiful. I'm so happy that you're here. Folks, let us know where you're hanging in and hailing from. We'd love to know that while we have our conversation. And I just want to remind everyone, pop your questions into the comment threads during our conversation because we'll put them up on the screen so everyone can learn together. And this is a great opportunity for you to get the scoop from the comfort of your home, our home office. And also do what Jerry did. Amplify your brand. Share your business name, one liner, and website URL in the comments. And Sabrina and I will be like, oh my God, you're amazing. Yay, you. And that's, you never know who's going to tune in and hear about you and your business while we're chatting. So I'd love to do that. So, Sabrina, we connected online. You had me on your wonderful opportunity where you highlight folks for 10 minutes, but I want to dive into your origin story because you've had such an interesting, fascinating background, beginning with the love of tennis. Now, was this something that you started as a kid, or did you just happen to pick up a racket in your teens and just said, wow, I'm good at this? Or how did that happen?
Oh my goodness. Going back to when I was 7 years old, and I'll keep it very short, do not worry. So I was playing tennis pretty well. I played to a really good level. And fast forward my tennis playing career, I had a part time job, as a lot of teenagers do. And in this job, when I was 15 years old, I made my boss £9,000 in 5 days. And I got paid £150. And I thought, this isn't fair. This isn't right. And on the other side of it, I was like, wow, £9,000, a lot of money. So fast forward, and I knew this was something I wanted to do. I was really good at it. I opened my own tennis events company. And by the age of 22, we had a 6-figure profit business. We had 42 members of staff. We were running events at 11 different places. And that all came because of something that I loved. But I saw the opportunity and I just went for it. And that's really where my business journey started.
Oh my gosh. I can see that beautiful brain of yours going, say what? 5,000 I got paid this tiny bit? Some people would just be go, oh, thank you. Yeah, but no, not you. You said, okay, and how can I start doing this as a business and start, pulling things together? And, you start holding tournaments for children, giving away your own trophies and medals. So, how did that, inform you as far as entrepreneurship? Because there's a little social aspect in that.
There is. And I mean, going back, maybe I would have brought the trophies and medals, but I didn't have any money to start this business. I didn't even see it as starting a business. I just wanted to try something on the side. And I wanted to keep it really lean, meaning I got the funds from all the tournament players 4 to 6 weeks before the tournament took place. I then negotiated rent to be paid after the tournament, a percentage of the profit to the club. So therefore, I was always in a positive. Of course, when you're first starting something out, I didn't expect to get so many children entering. And I thought, I have nothing to give them if they win. So I went to my bedroom and I found some of my old tournament trophies and medals, and I gave them that to start going forwards. And it was really just being resourceful with what I had, but also being very lean without spending thousands of pounds to start a business and trying to figure out how I could get the money in before I had money coming out.
Oh my gosh. I'm having an Andelicious moment, everybody, because you know how I feel about lean startups. What you just shared there, Sabrina, is so important. Sometimes we get, and of course, I raised a .com, so we just spent money ridiculously. And what you just showed was being creative. From constraints comes creativity. And it really probably meant more to the kids to get that. The trophy that was yours, but also the way that you saw about, okay, get the money in before it goes out, get the sponsors, work out the details. Negotiating is so important. It's a key element for founders, right?
And I think there's, a massive want to start your own business, but you don't need thousands of pounds. You don't need an investor. You don't need to borrow money. You just need to figure out, firstly, is there even a demand for this business? So if you want to start a brand, put something out there, take money in. The worst case is you can refund somebody, but at least you've been able to prove that your concept actually makes sense. Then you can use the money that you've got in to actually scale the business, rather than getting all flustered and spending so much time and money on a website and a trademark when you haven't even made your first dollar. So it's really, a big piece of advice I'd say is, how can you start something lean?
Almost a stitch that on a pillow moment. I'll add that, guys. How can you start something lean? And it's true. Your ideas, and of course, if you're a founder, your ideas are, coming in all the time. But will they work? Do the consumers want to pay what you're selling? So that's the real key, is to find out if there is a need in the market. And I love to use the Airbnb or Uber example. Before the big economic crash of 2007, 2008, what, you were going to bring a stranger in your home? Oh, hell no. You were going to get into a stranger's car? No. So a lot of times it's timing as well. So I love that story. Now, you have, in my humble opinion, Sabrina, an abundance of, as we say here in Boston, wicked, smart, savvy business. So you went on to get your MBA though. And why did you do that?
Well, really interestingly, both my parents were teachers. So growing up with both my parents being teachers, they taught me to love learning. And I felt like I needed to do that for my parents. Maybe in hindsight, I didn't actually need to do the MBA, but I actually found a loophole in the education system, and I skipped my degree and I went straight to an MBA and actually got a distinction in that. And because I did that, I felt like I had an accelerated curve to learning all these different business concepts without having to spend 3 or 4 years of my life doing a degree. So I did go on to do my MBA. Looking back, maybe could have been able to actually spend more time on my business, but it did give me some really interesting skills that I definitely do use now.
Absolutely. And folks, Sabrina graduated, the youngest graduate they'd ever had. So hello, again, wicked smart. But I have to share a little sidebar here. You and I have that in common. I did not complete my undergraduate degree as well, but I went to an all-women's MBA program here in Boston at a really well-known institution called Simmons College. And they knew that women get sidetracked. And so they would take a few candidates in every program that did not have an undergraduate degree. So high five.
No, you're the first person I've ever met to also done that, Ande.
I was going to do that pesky undergraduate degree. Let's just go right ahead to that MBA.
I love that.
Oh, that's such a great story. I do want to say hello to my wonderful, wonderful Ruth, who's, if you see her in the comment threads, everybody, Ruth is my wonderful community manager here. She's on Facebook, she's on LinkedIn, she's on YouTube, taking care of everybody, saying hi and greeting you as you show up. I'm so grateful for you, Ruth. And Brent, we always have to say, hey, Brent from Ottawa, Canada, loyal fan. And he reminds us every show, disability is innovation and deserves a seat at the table. And not just any disability, some disabilities are very visible, but there's plenty of neurodiverse and other invisible disabilities out there that all deserve a seat at the startup table. And hey, Laura, so happy to see you. Be sure to put your business name and one-liner and URL in the comment threads, because I know Sabrina's going to want to know about this, okay? She's got a great business, and we'll amplify it. So moving right along, both your parents were teachers. Was there anybody else that informed you about entrepreneurship? I mean, clearly you dove right into it the minute your brain said, what? 150 pounds for a visit. You
No, it's really interesting. I don't really have any role models when it came to learning about business, but I did watch the BBC One show, The Apprentice, which we have in the UK. And it's a very classy version compared to the Trump version in the US. And I watched every single episode and I was obsessed. And I always said, I'm going to be on that show one day, which I was, and I made to the final. And that's an incredible story in itself. But I watched seeing what they were doing and I just thought it was fun. And I thought, oh my God, why would I want to work with somebody else when I can really learn how to potentially do this? It looks fun. I think I could be better than them. And when I was 14, I started listening to Brendan Burchard and Tony Robbins every single day. At that point, it was so I could get, full marks in my exams. But actually the mindset that it taught me from listening to these really big coaches when I was 14 years old on my own account, I think has been a big influence in how I think now.
Oh my gosh, I love that you were feeding your brain early on. And that's what's important, folks. We have to be self-actualized. We can't look around for others to, help carry us along. Whatever you need is inside of you. And in spite of the misogynistic stuff that's come out about Tony Robbins today, I will say I did his business mastery in 2015, 2016, I think. Loved it. And I loved the people he had. So, those are great and important things that we need to put in. And I love that you watched the classy version of The Apprentice. We don't want to say that too loud over here, but the British version, great. And you applied to be on the show.
I did. I just knew I was going to get on. And I just knew, I think because I've been watching it so obsessively since the last age, that I actually really practiced everything I thought they were looking for. And I had, I was going to be the under 30, and I was 21 or 22 at the time, the under 30 female. That was and I'm competing against the entire of London. So I have a really hard demographic to crack. And I know because it makes sense that they're going to choose different females from different areas and different ranges. So I actually reversed engineered as many interviews as I could find online about what other candidates had said. And there seemed to be a common theme. I then practiced in front of the camera, saying different phrases, terminologies, had my tonality, the way I presented, in line with what I'd already seen. So I actually reverse engineers what I thought the producers were looking for, which gave me a lot of confidence when I was going there on camera because I'd already been there and done it.
Oh my gosh, folks, are you taking that in? That is PR brilliance right there. It's really because, we're going to get deeper into what PR is, but you branded yourself brilliantly so that you were in alignment. And of course, Tony Robbins talks about that too, communicating in a way that you're in their language. Plus it was like you were putting invisible hashtags in there so that their algorithms would find your words and make that alignment. Congratulations. And so what was it like to be filmed and on the show? I'm so curious.
Oh my goodness. If I could do it again, I would in a heartbeat. It was so much fun. And you wake up one day and you have to, sell personal training equipment. And then the next week you have to make donuts at 2 a.m. and sell them on the street. And the week after that, you're presenting in front of British Airways, your new plane that you've created. What it allowed me to do is it made me understand you can make money from anything. And you don't necessarily need to know what exactly goes really in that business in order to make money from it. And it was so much fun because we were competing, we lived in a beautiful house, and it was also a bit of a dream come true being on the show.
Are you kidding? First of all, doing something that you love to do, making money at anything. And thank you for bringing that up because investors put this out all the time. Well, I don't see a really good founder market fit. I never had a founder market fit in any of my businesses. What's up with this founder market fit? Yes, it's kind of ideal, but don't let that stop you, folks. Listen to what Sabrina said. If you know how to sell and you know how to market, you can take any idea and bring it to life and get traction, provided there is an audience for it, a buyer for it. Right, Sabrina?
No, it's so true. And if you see a lot of the time when we're looking at businesses, we're actually solving something that we wish was already solved. So we've gone through it. We're the ideal customer. So if you see something like that, take a note and Put it out there. Try and see if someone's willing to pay a price for it. And if they are, you know that you've got a real product. You don't have to spend, hours or thousands, as I mentioned earlier, on a site, on a trademark, on the legalities. You just need to see, is somebody willing to pay for it? And a really great way to start changing your mindset around this is every single time you spend money, what are you spending it on? Because money isn't made, it's transferred. So every single time you go to a coffee shop, why has that particular coffee shop exchanged the coffee for $3-4? Was it because you really wanted to try their coffee beans? Were you looking for the social aspect? Were you just really tired and wanted a coffee? And then when you really understand how you're transferring money, you can start thinking about what you would do better if you had a coffee shop next door, or if you owned that particular shop. What would you change? Are they selling cake? Are they selling breakfast? Are they doing particular deals? And you start to see every single financial transaction as a transaction of money, which allows you to develop this abundance mindset that money is everywhere. We just need to understand how we can bring it and solve somebody's particular need.
Oh, all right, everybody. I just have to fan myself again. My clappers, I'm using them to fan myself. That is brilliant advice. Thank you so much for that, Sabrina. It's true. And a lot of times, even tech founders, even you have to find a way to see this as the exchange that it is.
Mhm.
And for the female founders who are raising funds, often, we show up with our hands out saying, please, and then from Oliver. But instead, what you have to understand is that you have a value exchange. You have created a business, you've established traction, you established that it is a great idea and you are serving and solving a problem, and you love the people that you're solving that problem for. And it's really a great opportunity for investors to put money into your deal. What are your thoughts, Sabrina?
I think it's great. And when I was 18 years old, I was going in between having my gap year, and I just Googled online investor conferences, and I went to a few in London, and I pretended that I was an investor here on behalf of my uncle. And because I did this, I actually sat on the boardroom and I heard all these startups coming to pitch. And because of this, I was able to find out what exactly the investors were saying when that particular startup had left the room. And one of the really biggest factors is, do they believe in the founder? Because you can have an incredible idea or an incredible founder, but they don't work without the other. So a lot of the time, one of the reasons I actually got my MBA was the credibility factor. And a great trick for any female or anybody looking to get investment right now is to Google yourself. When you Google yourself, what comes up? Do you have a website? Do you have a created LinkedIn? Do you have any press articles? Because if you can paint a picture in your invested mind that you're a trusted authority, that you've been able to be there and do that before, that what you're putting on there is positive and you're actively putting yourself out there, that's going to make them trust you more, because that's what everyone does now. They Google you. So when you can create that Google, you can also paint a picture in your investor's mind, and you're more likely to leave a positive taste in their mouth.
Founder journey time. This is just so good. That gets an extra scream. This is why, and folks, remember, when you go to search yourself, go into incognito tab. This little 3 little dots in Chrome on the right there. Go into the incognito tab, because you want to explain that, Sabrina, why it's important to search yourself now.
Well, Google want you to stay on Google. So they're going to create the search depending on what they think you will like. But when you go on incognito, it's not 100%, but it's more likely to give you an accurate result of what the average person will see, rather than accustomed to your algorithm.
That's right. Someone who has never heard of you or your product or your business. So it gives you a really nice picture of what's out there and how many pages are they going to find you on, and what is Google coming up with for content. And we'll dive deeper into that when we go into the PR segment of this show. But right now, I want to know, why did you choose public relations? I mean, I can see a common thread in everything that you do and everywhere you glow. But what was it that made your heart sing and said, I want to launch 2 PR?
I would have never predicted this story. So I came off The Apprentice, and I had a PR agent at the time who was, she was great. And I was doing all these speaking events and red carpet events, and I was in really the limelight. And to the extent I would be walking down the street through London and I'd have at least 50 people ask me for a photo in a day. It was, really a lot of people see the show in the UK. And when I got into lockdown, I got approached to co-found a company. And this company, when you type was a software, when you type your postcode in, you can find out all the delivery slots in your area. Now, at this time, no one could get food. So there was a big problem in the market, meaning we went into lockdown, no one could get food. And we had this incredible solution that allowed people to find out where there were delivery slots to pick up food in their area. Using all the media contacts that I'd built over the last 2-3 years of doing film, radio, TV, I then was able to contact all my journalist friends. And because this was already trending in the media, so there was already a lot of traction, we had an incredible PR campaign. And that PR campaign led to 100,000 people on our website overnight. Our website crashed. And 6 weeks later, we had 500,000 users from 3.2 million page views. So about a 1 in 6 conversion, all from the power of press. And I thought, wow. And off the back of this incredible success, which is really doesn't happen in the PR industry, a lot of other companies and entrepreneurs asked me to do the same for them. And that's how I got into the PR space, from being able to get that real traction for my business, be in both sides of the table, and then be able to generate this for others. And for the first year of our business, we grew, incredibly to 6 figures of profit purely from referrals, which is a really positive place to grow from, just because we were able to do a really good job.
Oh my gosh. So referrals are the best, right? Word of mouth marketing, nothing beats it. And so were you, and it was through the contacts that you made, especially thank you for helping people find food. I know from my friends in the UK that the spring of 2020 was very scary.
It was. I was on a yacht in Dubai, and I told someone about my business and they were like, "Oh, I was a customer of yours." I was like, "Wow."
Oh my gosh. See, that's a huge impact. And you met your own criteria, which was lean machine. You tested it out that way. You said, wow, I guess I kind of know what I'm doing here. And then people said, oh, yes, you do. And I want to hire you. And we're like, well, shoot, I got to figure out pricing. How did you figure that out?
It took a while. But we figured out, if it was me paying another agency, paying another company, I want to 10x what I'm putting in. If I'm putting $1,000, I want to be able to give that client $10,000 worth, because they're always going to stay. And when you get a model that really amplifies what they're putting in and they're getting something that they can really see out of it, you're going to keep clients. They're going to refer you more clients. They're going to be happy. So I really did it depending on the value. And then I just made sure what we delivered was 10x that.
Oh my gosh. And so as you were, building it up, you're looking around and you're seeing plenty of other PR agencies in your space. I mean, my gosh, there's so many great agencies out there. What makes yours specifically different other than your own deliciousness? Sabrina.
I was yesterday, I wasn't sure if I should do a LinkedIn post on this, but I saw another company on my LinkedIn, and they're another PR company. So I clicked onto their LinkedIn page and I saw that they had the same wording as us. I was like, oh, that's really strange. So I clicked into book a calendar, and their calendar, and I took a print screen, maybe it will become a LinkedIn post, was exactly the same as ours. And I knew that actually what they're doing was, straight from us, because I wrote it myself. I knew my copywriting. So I'm actually really confident, because if other PR agencies are following in our steps, it means we're doing something right. So,
well,
it's great.
And I was just talking to one of my mentees the other day, and they had a company with a very similar, almost exact type of product as theirs, and they completely copied them. And this was about 4 years ago. I mean, the website, just like you said, the website, everything. And they were like, what do we do about this? And they said, we got to just focus on our own business. And that company's going out of business today. So folks, people can copy you. And this is the brilliance of this gem from Sabrina. People can copy you and it still won't matter, because they're not delivering you to the customer. The customer is hiring what you are promising to deliver every time you open your mouth, every time you share content, every time you are in an exchange of any type. It's you, and that's what they want.
And it's really true. And I don't see, in a sense, we actually cater towards this. We saw a lot of PR firms coming up, and now we have about 40 PR firms white labeling what we do. So they make the marketing and sales, but we're ultimately doing the fulfillment still. So actually, the growth of other PR firms and us doing the fulfillment is actually fueling our business. So you can always adapt to what you're doing to what the market is saying right now, because you can't ever stop more competitors. There's always going to be more. But how can you actually adapt your business model to be able to cater for them as well?
Oh, that's so delicious. And so let's go into what founders need to know about PR, because there's so much on a newbie founder's plate. I mean, they're just trying to figure out, how do I stay alive? How do I prove my MVP? How do I get, customers in the funnel? How am I going to get pricing? Gosh, I got to hire a few people. Oh, wait, I've got to stop and make sure that my culture is right and I've got diversity. I mean, there's so many things. They get a lot of that going and they're moving forward. But what happens to so many founders, Sabrina, is they're so into their business, they forget that, oh, wait, I'm a founder. So it's not just PR for the startup, their business, it's also PR for their authority. And this is so important for raising capital, for getting that media presence, is to understand, wow, I'm the founder of ABC company. I need to get media prepared. So let's dive into some of your favorite things. If a newbie founder were coming to you and say, look, we're really rocking it. We've got, traction and we're ready to go perhaps raise a solid seed round. And I want to start grooming myself to be out there and become investor ready. How would you start them off? How would you talk to them?
Amazing. I love this question. And one of the points you mentioned was actually about creating a synergy between your personal brand and your business. Because when an investor looks at your business, they're not just looking at yourself or your business, they're looking at you and all the other C-level executives or everyone else who has decision-making processes, because they've got to trust you can make decisions. So everything you're doing really needs to create that tie with yourself and also with your brand. And there's 3 easy steps I'd love to share that any founder can do, and they won't cost you anything, just a little bit of time, that you can start doing on a monthly basis that will really, really help. Now, the first one, and we touched upon this slightly, is about Googling yourself. So at the first of every single month, set a date in your calendar to Google yourself, Google any decision makers, and also your company brand. And depending on what comes up, you're going to be able to keep track of this. You can also do this via Google Alerts, because as soon as somebody wants to work with you, they're going to Google your brand and press the word review, or they're going to put your name in and say trust, whatever that is. So being able to create that. Moving on to stage number 2. Now, say that your LinkedIn is the first thing that comes up when they Google your name. That means that the SEO in your LinkedIn is the most powerful one. So the person is most likely to click that first or second link. That then gives you the platform that you should really be focusing on that month, because that means that that's the platform that's going to allow them to learn about you a little bit further. And the third aspect there is when you're on the platform, and it doesn't have to be long, but just do something. It could be a one line, you could be reposting a quote. They just want to see that you're an active online person. And just doing those 3 really simple things straight away will massively help your business.
Oh my gosh. And what will that create? I mean, because, we understand algorithms, we understand the flow of how an online presence works, but doing those 3 things, it makes the people, of course, visiting and who are researching you happy. But what other things can crop up from taking those wonderful 3 pieces of advice?
Of course. I'd love to go with LinkedIn for example.
Yes, thank you.
Nobody wants to get sold to. Nobody wants an advertisement. Nobody wants to say that they're doing something wrong. And that's because, number one, we're very aware of the advertisement, of the sales pitches. But the second point is most people have an ego. Most of us have an ego, and we like to think that we're doing everything right and we don't need external help, which means when we see something salesy, our resistance goes up, our stress goes up, and we become defensive rather than being open-minded. So when you're looking at your LinkedIn, for example, if you're putting something out there that's going to create curiosity, that could be because of the hook, that could be because it's conscious, I can't remember the word. So when somebody debates something, but when you put something there, that creates curiosity about yourself and your brand. And then somebody will naturally come over to your LinkedIn page. The number one mistake any companies or founders or entrepreneurs on LinkedIn do is they don't have a plain and clear, irresistible offer. When you have an irresistible offer to get in touch, to download a resource, to work with you, that somebody, and I like to say, only a lunatic can say no to, then you're really missing out on that funnel. So you need to imagine Google is your funnel. You click onto the LinkedIn. Do they like what you're saying on your feed? Yes. They click onto your profile. And then what is the CTA? And that journey, that flow of consistent transparency is what really generates you leads and generates conversations.
And the beauty of what you're sharing with us today, folks, this that Sabrina's sharing is this is branding, and public relations, PR, gets jumbled up with advertising, with marketing, with all of these things. And it isn't. It is your vibe in the world. It's how you show up and promise to show up each and every day. And by taking these simple steps to make sure that your words are compelling, that people are like, "Ooh, what does that mean? Ooh, I want to learn more." And do you help folks with that? Do you help them with positioning themselves and on different platforms?
Yeah, we do three things. So the first one is we look after your credibility and your online social proof. Because if someone doesn't trust you, if you're not the authority, then they're going to look to competitors. They're going to look to somebody else. So the first thing is we get credibility out there to show that you are the authority. Now, the second step is awareness, because you could be featured in Forbes, but if no one knows who you are, then that doesn't do anything. So awareness comes in, and we do this via two things. One is a LinkedIn to leads, which is a really fun, increasing your LinkedIn reach. And then the second is also increasing your subscribers on YouTube. So you're really getting into the SEO Google benefit search. And by doing those two different things, you're ticking off the boxes that's going to allow somebody to trust you, and it's going to allow awareness. So when you get that visibility, people want to work with you because they see you as the trusted authority.
That credibility piece is so important. And I know newbie founders, you're still transitioning from being that great employee, right? You've been having that tiara or hat that you've been wearing forever, and you're still stepping into your authority. You're still stepping into, I'm an owner, I'm a founder, I'm a CEO, president, CTO. This is so important. That shift into how you present yourself is where the credibility and the awareness happens. See, I just love this. And so how does a founder know when to begin? I started off with all the things on a newbie founder's plate, right? And all the things that they're managing. And I'm so proud of all of you out there. I just want to remind you, you are rocking it. And every day you are proving to the world that you've got what it takes. But when is a good time for them to look out and hire someone like you and the folks at 2 PR?
I think it's a great question, and timing is really key. Now, everything that I've said, you can do yourself. You don't need to hire an agency. You don't need to hire anybody else. So you can start this journey today. I always say if I could have started my journey on, really building up my brand, I would do it a year, 2 years before I started doing this. And that's the first thing. When should you hire an agency? All of this you should do anyway. The agency part comes in is when it comes to time. So when the time and the amount that it's going to cost to pay somebody to outsource it is leveling up. Because say that you're in sales and say that you averagely close $500, $1,000 a day, and doing your personal brand takes up 4 days a month. So that's $4,000. If you can find an agency to do it for $2,000 and you know that you're closing and you've got leads for that $4,000, it makes sense because you're always going to be on a positive. So I'd say when your time is 2x how much it's going to cost you to outsource it, that's when you should start looking at. And I'd say that across all cost decisions rather than, specifically with PR. The other side of things is when you go into investment, that's such a key phrase to do being for PR, because we had one client, we did one article for them, and they closed their $800,000 seed round the next week. And they said it really came down to the article being live and giving them that trust. So 2 different elements there.
Oh, I love that, something fierce. Now, of course, like some, ads and things like that might have a quick result. Again, that's advertising, that's marketing. But why is PR a long game strategy? And how do you educate your clients on that? Yes, you got them that article and it had a nice turnaround fit, but a lot of times you're putting things out in a way that it's going to take a little bit of time. What are your thoughts about that?
100%. PR is not so much a lead generator, but it's a converter. So before you start doing ads, does somebody trust you? Do they go over to your page? Are you verified? Have you been featured in big publications? If you saw somebody for the first time and you saw 2 different profiles, one was verified, they've been featured in Forbes, they're on podcasts, they're putting themselves out there. And the second is still got nice content, still got educational content, but there's no authority. Who are you going to choose? So PR really is about increasing your conversion. I really say, and I know any ad specialist would disagree, maybe because they'd want to close the client. But before you do paid ads, you want to do paid PR because you're going to increase the conversion of that traffic you're getting.
See, PR is about conversion, everyone. That is so sweet. Here comes the chef's kiss. Mwah! On that piece of advice. So I hope that you're all taking all of this great advice in and seeing how it applies. That PR is really about building your credibility so people trust you. And that trust is what they buy, is they feel really good about you. And to do that, you have to do the work on PR. So it's just like this circular thing happening.
That's great.
What final tip would you like to share about PR before I go on to some more goodies that I'm going to bring out of your beautiful brain?
Of course. I'd really say when you're looking to build your brand, you've got to think that you're building an asset. That asset's always going to be with you. Once you're getting content out there, you're always going to have that content. Once you've built an audience, you're always going to have that audience. So I like building up assets because they're going to be with you long term. And you're driving something that if the next day, if for some reason, I don't know, we all get locked in our houses for 3 months and we can't go out. If that happens, you may have lost your income from what you're doing, but you still have your brand. And that's exactly what I was able to do. I was able to pivot when something happened out of my control because I had my brand, I had the trust, and I had the community to allow me to launch something else.
Oh my gosh. Sabrina, can I tell a side story?
Of course.
Oh, because, I have a lot of people know me from back in the around 2011 when I launched Bring Back Desire, which was a 21 plus website. And I thought about taking on a nom de plume, right? But I didn't. I just kept myself like this. And of course, everybody told me, Andy, that's it. Your career's finished. And, but I put together your advice. I had my online presence. I had my Ande Lyons credibility, my authority, and it was never tied in to what I was talking about. And on a 21 plus website called Bring Back Desire, folks, go Google it, go check out the YouTube channel. Lots of fun for long-term relationships. But the point is that by putting together the right branding, the right PR, the way I delivered me every single day, kept it so that I was able to segue when that business was done in 2014 into mentoring, startup life, all of these things that I do. So I want to just share a personal story and a great example of how that credibility and trust can happen, even when you're talking about things that are salacious, delicious, and sexy.
I love that. It's so beautiful.
But it's so important, everybody. And this is why I brought that up as an example. And I just have a quick question. What is a typical budget? Because a lot of founders are on lean and, they want to weigh. They want to say, okay, is it time to outsource? Is it time to hire Sabrina and the team at 2, PR? And I know it depends on each customer, but, we have what we used to pay before the internet days. What are we looking at today as just a quick broad brush?
Of course. Well, PR budgets, and these are numbers I've worked with, can be anything from $100,000 to $500. Yeah. So you really need to work around what makes sense for you at the time. And when you're starting off, maybe $1,000, $2,000 article, which may seem like a lot of money. And maybe if you're not quite there, then PR is not the space for you yet. But you want to see if it works. You want to see how much traction you get. So I'd always stay with a slightly smaller investment to start with. Now, when it comes to LinkedIn with YouTube growth, we have everything from $2,500 to $15,000 a month. That again, it depends on if you're getting 2, 3, 4, 5 more clients every month, how much they're paying you. If you have a high ticket offer and you're selling something for $5,000, $10,000, then if you get 3 or 5 more clients every month, it makes sense. And you're building up that particular asset. So that's how I always like to think when you're going to work with somebody or outsource. It doesn't need to be, it's not really about how much it is. It's about what are the results going to be? What can the agency help you with? And does it make sense that if you're investing, for example, into YouTube growth and you're getting 1,500 new subscribers a month, what would that do to your ad spend? What would that do to the amount of clients that you're getting, to your email list, to everything else? And start making decisions that way.
Absolutely. And if you're out there raising capital, whether it's, 50,000 of pre-seed money to, 750,000 or 1.5 million of seed money, you need to be able to have that investment. I really think you do, because you could be taking months and months and months to raise that capital, or you could be, as you did when you wanted to get on The Apprentice, saying the right things, getting the right buzz out there about yourself so investors get more confident. And, this is a big challenge for so many female founders. I don't know if you know this number, Sabrina, but female founders raise around 2 to 3% of all venture capital out there. I'm not talking about angel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, whatever we can do to shore up and add wind to our sails and get investors to see us, I think we need to, figure something out. And if you had something like that at 2, PR, I can tell you female founders would be hiring you. It's so important. And I know, folks, it's hard to just put the spotlight on yourself and do all of that. It's a credibility issue, but it's also a framing your authority. And you do a great job at that, Sabrina.
Thank you. There's a great strategy I'd love to share for anyone looking to raise investment. So to raise investment, make your LinkedIn look pretty, make yourself look presentable on there, but get an article out in a credible publication, something like Apple News, Bloomberg, Business Insider. Spend a little bit extra getting a really good publication. Have that article talking about the need, the wants, the benefits of that particular investment, what it could do to your business from this point of view of the investor. So they're reading this and they're thinking, wow. And then taking a press article, taking the link and doing outbound messaging on LinkedIn to investors with that link. Hi, I noticed that you're an investor. We just got featured, our upcoming project just got featured in the press. I'd love you to have a look at this article. It's different, it's unique, it's going to stand out. It's in a place of credibility and authority, and you'll actually be able to attract a lot of investors because of this as well.
I agree, because so many folks are turning to TikTok or doing these cute little videos. Investors do not care about that. You need to level up. I just love that advice, Sabrina. Hey, Jerry. Jerry's asking if you know anybody in the US FDA where marketing medical device before the FDA allows it is illegal. Can a company use PR to attract investors but not selling anything?
Well, there are legalities when it comes to PR. Anything around encouraging someone to spend money in an investment, in a trade, in crypto, all of that is anything medical, anything devices. There's a lot of rules and regulations, and a good PR agent will be able to find out what those are. Now, there's very specialist PR agencies who will look and work with FDA around advertising and marketing. We don't particularly do that. Because a lot of the time as well, when you're doing this, we'd actually advise for you to have a lawyer to actually look through everything before you put it out there, because you'd never want that to bite you back. You'd never want that to actually hinge something out. So if you're doing anything that has PR regulation,
regulation, yeah.
I would say definitely you should have a lawyer before you put anything out in the public to look over that, because you wouldn't want it to bring you back. You can, of course, put out PR articles about yourself, but not about something that needs more looking over.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that great question, Jerry.
Yeah.
So, Sabrina, what does success look like for you? Because, it changes over the years, right? One minute the success looks like this or like that. What does it look like for you today at this point in time? And is it a feeling? Is it an outcome? And are you using your own measuring tape instead of someone else's?
It's very interesting. Success really has changed for me over time, and I've hit everything that I've wanted to hit. But for now, it comes in three different forms. So one is financial freedom, meaning I know that we have enough different things going on that I will be financially okay when inflation goes up a lot as it is, when I want to move about, and I can feel that I can really deliver an incredible result because I have these different incomes for my different businesses. The second is location freedom. I'm currently in Mexico. I've been traveling the world now for 2 years. Everything's done on my laptop. I don't have anything forcing me to stay in one particular location, and I can get up and move when I want. And for me, I never thought that would be a measure of success to me, but actually, it gives me so much flexibility and I can go where I want to go. And the third is time freedom. So now I know that I have an incredible team. I know that, and I don't really believe in passive income, but I do believe in systems and team members to take that off you. And because of that, I could leave my business for X amount of time. I probably wouldn't because they're my baby. And I'd know it'd be okay because I have really strong systems in place. So for me, it's having those different freedoms, but being able to still build, being able to still connect with incredible people, to have amazing success stories for my clients. That all to me is a really big measure of success, and my success now is being able to keep that as times change and as the world changes.
Oh my gosh. First of all, I love how your brain works. You really know how to assimilate information and put it out. It's like so wonderful to watch, Sabrina. But I also love that your comment about passive income. It's really about being able to offload assignments to folks that you trust to get it done the best that they can do while you take time off. Because your business is your business. It needs you at the helm. And while the breaks and flow of work is wonderful, it's about having the right team members versus, the 4-hour work week.
Yeah.
With all
And
due respect to Tim.
I think the 4-hour work week is a fantastic concept, but I couldn't do it because I genuinely love what I do. I love learning. I love developing strategies.
Yeah, I would just be so bored within like the first 4 days. I'd be like, no, sorry. I love getting up every day doing this. So thank you very much. So how has, the mindset, right? And I know that as light and joyful and smart and talented as you are, that there are days when you are just hammered, right? By some things just going to hell in a handbasket. And that's the startup life. So what mindset hacks have helped you stay focused and move forward and get up every day that you think other founders would like to know?
I didn't give myself the option to have limiting beliefs. I didn't understand what limiting beliefs were. When somebody tells me that I can't do something, I don't understand why in their mindset that they have that belief in themselves. And I really struggle with this question. And I think it's maybe because I listened so much to Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard from such a young age every single day, but I don't have limiting beliefs. I don't believe that I can't get somewhere, I can't do something. And yes, of course, I have bad days, but I keep going because there's not going to be good days without bad days. I can't just suddenly stop because something's not working. I might be, in an upset mood. It's a mood, it's temporary. The only way to get out of a depressing situation, an upset situation, when something's gone wrong, is to keep moving forwards. And when you've got that momentum, when you keep going, you don't get into these negative states. You just are able to move on and you go again. And that's where the consistency comes in.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Everybody, that's a stitch that on a pillow movement. Keep moving forward. Have that pillow on your couch, and as a daily reminder, put it on yellow stickies. It really is the incremental steps that keep us moving forward. Now, you've been an entrepreneur for so long. As you said, you started listening to Tony and Brendan when you were 14, for crying out loud. But how has this journey served you, Sabrina? How has it tapped in and helped you be fully expressed? And not just professionally, but personally, how has this entrepreneurial journey helped you in life?
It's my identity. It's how I wake up in the morning. It's what people know me for, and it's just part of my life. I don't see it as work. I don't see what I do as work, and I have weekends. I just do what I do because it's life. And when you get into that flow, when it just becomes part of your identity, and it's not an external thing, it's not an external thought, you learn to love it, and it just brings you so much fulfillment and joy and happiness that you've created a world that you're able to really allow other people to experience as well, and it's really fulfilling.
I can't wait to see what you do next. I mean, you are so young. I'm so excited to see how things unfold over the decades because without limiting beliefs, you're going to see something and go, oh, I'm going to create that for sure or make that happen. And so, tomorrow you may have a whole new understanding and awareness. So any last thoughts before I pop you in the green room?
Well, thank you so much for joining me on the show. And I really hope everyone's found this useful. I do have actually a free resource if anyone wants it.
Yay!
If you go to our website, 2pr.com, so TWOCOO, PR.com.
It's going by in the sticker below and it'll be in the show notes.
You can download a trusted authority checklist, print it off. You can do it in your spare time, and it will just allow you and it will guide yourself. You can do it completely at home, give it to your marketing manager to just slowly start to go through. We, of course, can help you, but I'd always say that first step comes from yourself and seeing what you can do in your own space and with your own imagination.
Oh my gosh, Sabrina, we're going to have all the links in the show notes to find you. Of course, the banner's been going across the whole time. Follow Sabrina, of course, on Instagram and connect with her on LinkedIn. And of course, 2pr.com is right there where you can get and download the information. I'm so grateful for your time and presence today. I'm going to pop you in the green room and wrap up the show. I hope you can stick around so I can give you a big hug. Oh, that would be wonderful. And, again, so grateful for the advice that you gave succinctly, clearly. Everybody has their marching orders. Let's go, folks. Thank you, Sabrina.
Thanks so much, Andy, for having me. Thank you for everyone listening as well. I hope you.
Oh, so good. That was so good, everybody. You know exactly what you need to do now to start getting PR and why you need to get PR and how to get media ready. Thanks to the wonderful Sabrina. All right. So first of all, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. For those who celebrate coming up, it's so exciting. Get ready to eat. But please mark your calendars for next Tuesday, the 27th at 12 p.m. And here's the scoop. How do you instill a sense of resilience in students that allows them to look at adversity as a challenge and failure as a learning opportunity? You teach them entrepreneurship. And that's why I'm celebrating National Entrepreneurship Month and Giving Tuesday with my favorite nonprofit organization, Build, because they utilize entrepreneurship education to help students develop ownership and agency over their own academic and career success while addressing racial equity and career opportunity gaps. When kids graduate from Build's programs, they have a plan and a vision for their future. It's going to be an amazing conversation. So be sure to set your calendars for Tuesday, Giving Tuesday, November 29th at 12 p.m. ET. Until next time, I am cheering you on. Please know that I believe in your ability. And keep asking questions. Ask for help. Look around, make introductions, get introductions. This is how you can do what Sabrina told us. Keep moving forward. Until next time, stay strong. And I'm wishing you a delicious day everywhere you glow. Mwah! See you next time, everyone.